Blessings, Trinity. We certainly live in difficult times. We seek to do what is right in everything that we do, and yet right and wrong are not always so crystal clear. And this week's been filled with a difficult decision for myself and for our leadership. John Wesley called the people called Methodists to live by three simple rules: to do good, to do no harm, and to stay in love with God. To put it another way, we seek justice, we love kindness, and we walk humbly with God, which is Micah 6:8. The instruction that we have received from all over is to not hold essential events at the church. But that begs the question for us as to what is it that is essential. At a meeting Thursday night made up of leadership and those who are highly active in our church's activities, we discussed what our responsibility was to God and to the congregation and to our community. In today's world concern for COVID-19 or the coronavirus, as Christians, we worship. We worship, which that is our essential part of who we are, but we have to make sure that in that worship we create a safe space for everyone who wants to be able to worship with us. And so we made the following decisions about how we would have worship on Sunday. First, we ask, beg, and plead. If you have any symptoms of the cold or the flu or any ailment at this time, please stay home and keep those germs to yourself. If you're concerned for those that you care for around you, and you're afraid that by coming here you might become a carrier, please stay home. We don't seek to put anyone at risk. Second, if we don't have to touch it, don't touch it. We've removed all the hymnals, the Bibles, the pencils, the paper that were in the pews so that there would be less contamination of items that would be available for us to touch as we're sitting in the sanctuary. As well, our staff has worked diligently in the last week to use Lysol on our pews, and will continue to do so week after week. The greeters, as you're welcomed to the church, will open the doors for everyone, and many of our doors to the sanctuary will be left propped open so that we do not have to touch them. We will continue to ask members to bring their offerings forward into the offering plate instead of passing the plate through the pews. And I must ask you that as you sit in this sanctuary, to spread out. It's okay to sit up front. We need to spread out so that we give everyone enough space. I believe they've asked that we sit like an arm and a half length apart from one another at the CDC. Third, we've canceled children's church at this time, but we still will have the children's messages in our service, and we still love to have our children here with us. But I understand the difficulty as being a parent, as being concerned for your children picking up germs, and also recognize the concern of those who were working with our children and their needs for possibly ailing parents that they might be taking care of throughout their weeks. Fourth, we have decided to record a video of the service that'll be posted to YouTube and to our Facebook page. We don't have Wi-Fi in the sanctuary, and I have struggled to do live stream from here in the past. It does take some time for us to be able to upload that information, so what I would ask is that you expect that sometime around 2 p.m. in the afternoon is when you would see our worship service available on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. And if you normally have an offering that you wish, you may either drop that off in the office in the midst of the week between the hours of 9 and 2, or you can mail that into the office as well. These changes to our worship hopefully create a safe space for those who wish to worship with us and for those who are not comfortable worshiping with us on Sunday. And hopefully we have found a temporary solution to keep you connected to God and to Trinity. Outside of our worship, our missions will continue to reach out into the community. The Wednesday lunch program will now be a takeout only until further notice. The food pantry and the backpack programs are taking their own precautions, and other small group gatherings will take similar precautions. And I encourage anyone to use the hand sanitizer stations that are in our hallway before going into small rooms or into other places. Next week, was supposed to be our indoor yard sale. It's a great fundraiser for the church. And because of the number of volunteers and the number of people who usually visit our church on that day, we've decided to postpone those events until things die down in hopes that the event will be as successful, if not more successful, than it normally is. Now, lastly, I know that there are some of you that feel that we are giving into fear in making these decisions, that we're being manipulated by a media response that is over-reporting on this one issue. And I want you to know that we have heard you and that we have had many of the same questions and points that you have as well. But please consider the following. If we do nothing, then we're a part of the problem as this spreads through our community. But if we respond without giving into our responsibility to God, then we have done our best to help keep this thing as minimal of an effect in our community as it can be. But if we give into fear and turn our backs on God, well, then who are we at all? What is the point of being the church? So it is my desire that we will not cancel church unless it truly comes to that and that decision is made for us. But at this point in time, we are worshiping. Consider Psalm 121 as well. It reads, "I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved, and he who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade in your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil, and he will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going outs and your coming ins from this time forth and forevermore." Trinity, the Lord will protect us, but we too have to do our part. We can't refuse to wash our hands and to refuse to take care of our bodies and then blame God when a great disease is rampant in our streets. We too have to do our part. We've been blessed with a great knowledge of how to keep ourselves safe and clean. And in this exact time and space when this coronavirus is before us as it is, we do so with respect for one another, with respect for God, because God has created all things. I thank you for listening, Trinity, and I hope that we can connect together soon, whether that be online or it be in this sanctuary. May God be the glory, and may we seek a tomorrow which is a better place. Amen.